Just when you thought that I couldn't have enough Pentiums, I bring home this, and it was not cheap either. This is an old Digital Equipment Corporation machine. If we take a look here, it is a DEC Celebris GL5133ST with a Pentium inside. It's got some quite interesting features. See, it's got a cache stick here, Coast module, cache on a stick. There's a big heatsink covering up the CPU, which is obviously a Pentium 133. I don't think it's got MMX support. See some chips here, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. No, maybe not. I can't really tell. 82437FX. Probably a 430FX chipset, if I had to guess. It's maxed out in RAM. I think it's 128 megabytes across all those modules, so that's not a bad little set of RAM there. Here's the riser card, which reveals even more interesting stuff. You see this here goes to an external SCSI connection on the back, because this actually has an Adaptec, what is that, 7850 SCSI controller on this back plane, and you could install an internal SCSI hard drive if you wanted to. You can see it's got 4 ISA and 2 PCI. The last 2 slots are combo, so you could either have 2 ISA, 2 PCI, or you could have 3 ISA, 1 PCI, or 4 ISA and no PCI. Those were your options. So, this has a Dallas module installed. It's underneath this, and it's been pre-modded with a CR2032 battery, which was very nice. This one's got a hard drive. You can see it's unplugged. We'll get into that in a minute. But it's just a random Fujitsu drive. I think it's 2 gigabytes in size. See, it's got a floppy drive. It doesn't have anything else. If we go ahead and we take a look at the back here, it probably had expansion cards in it at some point, but it doesn't anymore. There's your VGA. AUI, which is interesting to see, on integrated Ethernet, which this has. There's your parallel, PS2 keyboard and mouse, and audio. Looks like it's got, what is that, a line in and a speaker output. I don't know if it's an amplified speaker output. 2 serial ports. Looks like it could have had a game port, but this one does not. There probably was a sticker right there, for what I don't know. There's a power supply. Even though it's ATX, it does still have the inverted connection to plug a monitor into. The other interesting thing about this is the video. You can see there, it's got integrated Matrox MGA power graphics, IS Storm R2 video, which apparently DEC was fond of. A lot of their machines had onboard Matrox video. See, there's that. But this has a problem, and it has a pretty big problem. It will not work because of a fairly serious issue with the keyboard controller. At least that's what I have found. The problem is the machine will power on, it'll initialize the keyboard, and it'll sit there for a second, it'll reinitialize the keyboard. You know, all 3 indicators will blink, and then it will continue, or it will start the post. It'll go through the process of posting. This floppy drive is bad, but that's besides the point. And it doesn't really matter. You can't press spacebar to stop the memory test. You can't press F2 to get into setup. And when you get into the operating system, you can't press any keys to do anything. It just ignores you. You can't press Control-Alt-Delete. That doesn't work. And I've tried a couple different keyboards. It didn't seem to make a difference. I've tried all kinds of different things. I've tried resetting the CMOS. That doesn't help. So, unfortunately, I think I got a pretty expensive doorstop right here, because I don't think there's much that I can do for it, short of replacing the keyboard controller, which I know how this works. The keyboard controller is probably on that digital chip that's right there. So, yeah, good luck replacing that. I'd have to pull this whole thing apart, and this does not look very fun to get apart. Which is not to say I won't do it, because like I said, I have quite a bit invested in this. But I don't think I'm going to do too much with that. So what do you do when you have an expensive doorstop? Well, you get another one that's maybe not quite so expensive. This case right here actually goes to this one, which is the one that I'm going to take out and have a look at. It's basically the same as this, but the difference is that it actually has this installed, which is a CF to IDE adapter. Now, it's not going to keep that, because, and this is the part where I get myself in trouble with the vintage computer enthusiast audience, I don't like those things in vintage PCs. There are exceptions. For example, the XT IDE, or the XT CF to IDE version, is pretty much invaluable in today's world when we have XT systems where MFM hard drives are not exactly plentiful anymore. So they're valuable there. But in a system like this, with integrated IDE, there's no real reason to have something like that. In a Pentium 3, like a newer system, or something with a dedicated purpose, or, for example, something where you're swapping out, reinstalling operating systems constantly, swapping things out, etc., etc., that makes a lot of sense. In this, where I'm probably going to install Windows 95 once and be done with it, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So I'm going to pull that out. I'm actually going to pull the hard drive out of this and put it in there. Maybe at some point down the road it'll get a SCSI drive. I haven't decided yet. But for right now, it's going to get the hard drive out of this. I'm going to reinstall the OS on this. And I've never actually powered this up, so I actually don't even know if it survived its trip. But what I do know is that it worked, where this one did not. And I thought that this one was going to be a simple fix, like maybe the keyboard that they were using to test it was bad, or maybe it's broken solder on the keyboard port, but no, the PS2 mouse doesn't work either, in exactly the same way, and that the lights come on, but nobody's home. So, I did manage to get this into setup exactly once, after resetting the CMOS, but after I set all the settings, it wouldn't let me into setup anymore, so I don't know what's up with that. I've tried setting the jumpers, doesn't make a difference. Tried removing the cache module, doesn't make a difference. This right here is the VRM, so if you pull that, you won't get anything, because obviously the CPU won't power up. And I don't think it's anything on this back plane. There's no cards installed. I've tried pulling the hard drive and the floppy drive. Doesn't really make a difference, so I don't know what's going on there. Alright. Got it plugged in. Let's go ahead and we'll give it a try here. Light comes on. See, it'll come up. I didn't see it initialize the keyboard. Oh, hold on a minute. There we go. So you can see that it seems to be working. It's very quiet because there's no hard drive. So, yeah, 128 megabytes of memory. Doesn't look like there's, you can see there's not very much interesting to look at in here. So we'll hit Control-Alt-Delete. See if it will. Oh, here we go. Floppy drive seek. I think it's working. Yep, there's your AIC 7850. Beep. Now it should boot into Windows 98. That little CF thing there. Well, it does have a light on it. See it flashing. What I'll probably end up doing is just copying all the data from that onto the other hard drive out of the other machine and putting that hard drive in here. Scan disk? Uh-oh. That's really slow. Which is another reason why I don't really like these adapters, because they honestly, actually, in a lot of cases, tend to be slower than IDE hard drives. Which is quite amazing. I don't know how that manages to be possible. It's flash storage. But that's the way it is. This has 128 megabytes, so Windows 98 would run just fine on it. But, like I keep saying in my videos, I hate Windows 98. It's a dreadful operating system. That honestly wouldn't be too bad if they didn't choose to use it as a vehicle to crush Netscape by forcefully integrating Internet Explorer 4 and ruining all of the improvements that they made. Yeah, normally Windows wouldn't take this long to start. User. Ooh, onboard speaker actually works. I think this is a pretty vanilla install. Yeah, that speaker does not get very loud, but then again, it's a little PC speaker. What do you expect? So if we take a look, see Windows 98 2nd edition, which I've had worse luck with somehow. Matrox MGA Millennium graphics. I guess it doesn't have the Storm R2 graphics driver installed, or maybe that driver does not exist. And this is the next closest thing. It works anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Intel Ethernet, that's neat. Didn't expect to see that. There's the Adaptec SCSI controller. ES1688 audio, it's ESS. Other than that, not really much to talk about. Generic IDE disk. There is some stuff on it. So you can see, I think that's SimCity 2000. There's the cab files. You know, there's some extra stuff in here. But not much. Probably had DOS on it at some point. I don't know what version of DOS this is. Should be a way to find out. 1994. So, I don't know. Hard to say. Whatever. That's pretty much it for that anyway. It's going to get, like I said, it's going to get the hard drive from that one. It's probably going to get the drive cage. So you can see there's a cage on the front off of that one as well, because this one's missing one of the little metal blanks. And I'm not sure if those are one-time use or not. They might be. So I can just pull that out. Basically make this nice working one. That case cover went to this one, but it's going to go onto this after I fix the slot covers on the front of that one. Probably take the slot covers off of the one that it came with, but that case is a little bit more yellowed than that one is. Well, you can't really tell on video. I thought it was. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought it was, yeah, definitely. No, it looks like it's maybe about the same. I thought it was more yellowed. So maybe I just won't waste my time with it. I don't know. It's still got the Intel Pentium sticker on it. But the other one has the Energy Star logo, which, you know, I never really did understand why they put those on PCs. They're going to use that much power anyway, but whatever. Either way, it's a working system and a non-working system. Two very neat pieces of hardware that are exactly the same. So basically one neat piece of software, but you know what I mean. That's pretty much it for that. And it's off.